Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Tony D's channel. And we got the very exciting drop today of the brand new Paul McCartney / Ringo Starr song "Home to Us" off the new McCartney album, "The Boys of Dungeon Lane." And I was surprised this thing dropped at 11 o'clock at night, 12 p.m. at night. So I was very excited to go listen to this. I've heard the song 4 times total now, and it is really well worth the wait. It's been quite a long time since we had a song with both Paul and Ringo on vocals. My favorite of all of those would have to be Walk With You in 2010. I think it's an absolutely perfect, gorgeous song that combines Paul and Ringo's vocals. But anyway, I want to get to this song, Home to Us, right now. Obviously, the new Paul album is focused all on his childhood and his youth. And we've gotten 2 of those songs so far. They're incredible. And so let's just talk about some of these, goofy, funny, quirky lyrics. The place we used to live in, you could say it wasn't much, but it was home to us. And you could be forgiven for thinking it was rough, but it was home to us. The roses in the yard began to wilt, and then they turned to dust, but it was home to us. We didn't worry where the road was going to take us. There wasn't time to make a fuss, because that was all we knew. The world around us wasn't safe. The place was falling down. Of course, referring to how they grew up in the 1950s, post-World War II England. But it was my hometown, and it was home to us. The lady on the hill drinking brandy, eating caviar, the perfect host. My mom was in the kitchen, washing dishes in the sink. Then she burnt the toast. Kids were in the alley playing ball until the sun goes down. But that was my hometown, and it was home to us. It's got a really great vibe to it. I just love those kinds of songs, celebrating your hometown. Not that I would ever write a song like that. But how great is it that we've got Paul and Ringo? Paul on bass guitar, Paul on vocals, Ringo on drums, Ringo on vocals, together on one song in the year we're living in right now, which I think is 2026. It's really hard to tell these days. This song is so fun. It's how could you not love Paul and Ringo looking back on their youth? This is just so great. Yeah. It took over 10 years for Ringo to be a drummer on a Paul McCartney single on Take It Away in 82. And then after that, he played bass on 2 tracks on the 98 album Vertical Man. And then in 2010 on the Why Not album, playing bass on Peace Dream, and bass and vocals on the song Walk With You. And then that was about it until 2023 on the song. I think it was called Feeling the Sunlight, which he wrote for Ringo. But this has got to be the best of all of those duets. I mean, this one I would rank. I still think Walk With You is the best of all of those songs, but this is definitely tied with that one. I'm sure it's going to be way, way better in the context of the full album, where we'll get about 10 other songs about Paul's youth and Ringo's youth, because they had the same youth in the same hometown, Liverpool. So this just makes me really excited for the new album. And to be honest with you, we don't need this new album to come out at the end of this month. I wouldn't mind waiting longer for the new album to come out. I already got so many records right behind me here that I could spend time listening to before the new Paul album. It's going to feel like a like a windfall of greatness when we get that new Paul album now. Now that we've got Paul and Ringo duetting on a song together. And like I said, there are maybe 6 songs in existence with Paul and Ringo's vocals together. Maybe fewer than that even. You know, Walk With You and this one. And then there's of course Really Love You from '97 on Flamin' Pie. But it's not really a proper song. It was just ad-libbed on the spot. And another thing I love about this song and the other song, Days Left Behind, is that Paul is no longer trying to sound current. Paul tried to sound current in the 80s. Paul tried to sound current in 2013 to 2018, you know, on each station, working with modern popular producers. But he stopped doing that a while ago. And I'm glad. I don't want him to seem desperate to sound current. Anyway, that's what I think of the new song. I think it's fantastic. I think it's fun. I really enjoyed the cheeky, clever lyrics. And I'm really excited for what we're going to get on May 29th with the new Paul album. Thanks for watching.